How's it going, everybody? In this video, I have a quick update for you on the Renna v. Bonta California handgun roster case. So let's talk about this. But real quick before we jump into this video, if you think that California's handgun roster is unconstitutional, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. I also want to give a shout out to one of the main supporters of the channel, which is USCCA. Through your membership, you get training, education, and self-defense liability protection. So if you carry a firearm, I highly recommend you take a look into USCCA, and I'll put a link to them down in the details section. Also, I want to let you know that this content is powered by the Firearms Policy Coalition. So head on over to joinfpc.org to help support the Second Amendment cause. Thank you again, Firearms Policy Coalition, for supporting this channel. So like I said in the intro, in this video, I want to bring to you a quick update in the Renna v. Bonta California handgun roster case. And also I want to talk about some important events that could really change the course of this case. So let's kind of talk about what's going on. So real quick, for those of you who are not aware, Renna v. Bonta is a challenge to California's handgun roster and also AB 2847, which was a new law passed last year in 2020 in California, and which essentially was being coined the backdoor handgun ban. Now, in the state of California, there is what is called the Unsafe Handgun Act, which creates a list of a bunch of requirements for a handgun to be deemed safe in the state. Some of these requirements include things like the handgun being drop safe, as well as the handgun having microstamping technology. The Unsafe Handgun Roster Act resulted in a list of safe handguns being created that ordinary law-abiding individuals like me and you in the state of California can walk into a gun store and purchase. This list of approved handguns is often called the California Handgun Roster. So how does this work in practical effect? Well, for example, if an ordinary person walks into a gun store, they can purchase a Gen 3 Glock 19, but they cannot purchase a Gen 4 or a Gen 5 because those are not on the handgun roster. Those are not approved for sale. Now, you may be thinking to yourself at this point, well, why are Gen 3 Glocks on the list of approved handguns and not the newer models? They are essentially the same thing and they both don't have microstamping. So why is a Gen 3 on the roster and why are the others not? Well, that is because some handguns without compliant aspects like microstamping were grandfathered into the list. That is why there is this arbitrary cutoff between Gen 3 Glocks and Gen 4 Glocks, is essentially because one was already in existence, was already being sold, being purchased by people, and it was grandfathered into this list. However, with this whole handgun roster scheme, there are some exemptions for the handgun roster, mainly being law enforcement officers. So law enforcement officers are able to purchase handguns that are not on the roster. Now, ordinary people can acquire and legally possess off-roster handguns, but usually they have to come into possession of those off-roster handguns by purchasing them on the secondary market from someone who maybe is an exempt officer. This whole scheme leads to insane resale prices where you will ultimately have to pay 2 or 3 times the traditional price just to acquire an off-roster handgun. So for example, recently I saw a Glock 43X going on the secondary market for upwards of $2,500. And essentially that is a handgun that can be purchased by another individual in a non-restrictive state for maybe like $500. So you can see how the secondary market in the state of California for off-roster handguns is just absolutely insane. This whole scheme in the state of California creates this whole elitist system where officers are exempt and also only those individuals who can pay insane amounts of money can actually get off-roster handguns, where ordinary individuals maybe can't get those, they can't pay for those, and so they are subject to only being in possession of a very limited amount of handguns. Now, as if this issue of handguns was not bad enough in California, the legislator went ahead and passed AB 2847 last year, and under this law, a new requirement was added. Now, whenever the state adds a new handgun on the safe handgun roster list, 3 of the older non-compliant handguns must be removed from that same list. So this put those older generations of handguns at risk of also falling off the roster. So Renna v. Bonta is a challenge to the Unsafe Handgun Act and the implementation of AB 2847, which seeks to reduce the list of approved handguns. Now, the last update I gave you guys on this case was on the fact that the motion to dismiss filed by the state of California was denied by the court. Essentially, a motion to dismiss is a motion by, let's say, the state of California trying to get the court to throw out the case. The judge in reaction did grant the motion in part and then also denied the motion in part. The granted part was based on the fact that Pena, a prior California handgun roster case, already decided this whole constitutionality about the roster. So on that aspect, the case was dismissed. However, Pena did not address a scheme like AB 2847, where handguns would be removed from the list of the approved handguns in California, and on that basis alone, the court allowed the case to continue forward. So on the whole constitutionality of the handgun roster. That was granted as far as the motion to dismiss, but on the other aspect of AB 2847, the case is proceeding forward. The update I have for you guys in this video is that the court has now set the trial date for this case. The trial date is set for March 20th of 2023 at 9 a.m. Now, I know at this point some of you are thinking, well, what is a big deal about this? That's 2 years away, who cares? However, I want to frame this in a way that shows you how this may play out and why this is so significant. As many of you are aware, the Supreme Court recently heard arguments in the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruen, New York concealed carry case. During those arguments, the justices appeared to be leaning in favor of 2A rights, and also there was important discussions on the type of analysis lower courts are supposed to use when looking at Second Amendment cases. The tea leaves are indicating that the Supreme Court will rule in favor of 2A rights and also will likely reaffirm that text as informed by history and tradition is the proper type of analysis when courts review Second Amendment cases. Now, why is that fact important? Well, Pena, that prior handgun roster case, did not use text, history, and tradition in reaching its result. Instead, it used the Ninth Circuit's two-step approach to find that California's handgun roster was indeed constitutional. So when the Supreme Court rules in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association next year, that could lead to new language that can once again open up a challenge, in this case, to the handgun roster. This case could therefore move into 2023's trial as a full challenge to California's handgun roster and also to AB 2847. There's also the possibility that maybe some other motions could be sought prior to trial to try to get this case dealt with and to get the handgun roster removed. We will see how all that plays out, but with the whole new Supreme Court case likely going to hit in favor of 2A rights, no one can predict 100%, but it looks like it's leaning that way. That could open the door not just for this case and a challenge to the handgun roster, but a lot of other California cases as well. So the new trial date may seem far away, but it provides time and wiggle room to potentially attack the handgun roster once again based on new Supreme Court precedent. So I wanted to give you guys this quick update since many of you ask a lot about the Renna case and a lot of you ask about California's handgun roster. Just generally, a lot of people want to know, is there any challenges or is there anything going on with this case? Yes, there currently is a challenge to the handgun roster. There was one prior, but this one could become even more important depending on what the Supreme Court rules in the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association case. So hopefully that gave you guys a good idea of where this case is at and where it may be headed. If you guys have any questions, go and comment down below and I'll try to answer the best of my ability. Also, if you like this video and like support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is to like, comment, and subscribe. All those things help to fuel the algorithm or fuel Al Gore's rhythm. It adds fuel to his jet and it signals to YouTube that you guys see value in these videos and in this type of two-way news. So thank you so much to everybody who's liked, commented, subscribed, who's hit the notification bell. You guys are directly impacting this channel, directly impacting these videos, and helping these to reach so many more people. So thank you so much to everybody. You guys helped me reach my 200,000 subscriber goal before the end of the year. I did not think that was possible, but because of you guys, I did reach that goal. And now we are moving towards 300,000 subscribers. So thank you so much. If you don't have a comment in mind, just comment down below that you're coming to fuel the algorithm, and that really does help the channel. So as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And never forget, this is Built by Armed Scholars and Station will maintain by Armed Scholars.